Okay, I'm getting ready to do a fit and face on this coupling, and I've already got the shaft cleaned up, and what I consider cleaned up is polished, draw polished, making sure there's no sharp edges on the keys and everything else. I've had to center drill this shaft here because it had none, and the way I do that is I support it in a steady rest up here right close to it, so I get a perfect running center. I've already straightened the shaft so I know it'll run true in here. Also, I roll it over here, and the dimple was raised up all around the metal because somebody didn't roll in a radius, the leading edge of that dimple. They left it real sharp edged. The dimple screw goes into it, raises up the metals, and most of the time that's what creates a difficult situation on getting the coupling off. Besides being rusty, corroded, and everything else, it's one add-on. Okay, keys should slip freely in the keyway and the coupling. If it doesn't, you got to get in there and draw a file, remove buildup and any sharp burrs from digging at it. The key, set that in here. Key should fit snug in the shaft all the way down and tight. That way it's not going to move. I mean, even a hammer hit on the side is not letting that key move. Alright, now I like this because you don't know how many things I have dug out of these splits on these split couplings. And all it takes is that to spread it. It's just a couple thousand that you're spreading it. When you go to take one off, I don't know what forces people to just continue driving until it comes off. It slides on like that. Okay, we have a 1/2 inch. Alright, we have about a 1/2 inch more to bring in there. Soft face mallet, bringing it in flush. Most couplings sit flush at that recessed area. Some of them protrude in about 3/16 of an inch because the nut or system that is retaining the coupling on the transmission. I give it an eyeball down the dimple hole, release the wedges. Okay, then we go ahead and we assemble our bolts. I don't bother putting on the lock washers because I'm not locking this thing on permanent. I'm doing a fit up here. I put them both in the same direction. There's a reason why. I'm going to get ready to torque those. And on a split coupling, it is important to have equal torque on both of them. I'm equal torquing it here. And when you get down on the boat and you're getting ready to install it, you're going to want to put equal torque there. If it's a real snug, tight fit on the coupling, most of the time it won't vary if you have a slight bit more on one than the other. But if you bell mount that and it has a loose fit, you can get into a situation where you will not get it to repeat. And you need a coupling to repeat. I have my torque wrench set basically at 100. But by doing it this way, I'm pulling equal. Alright. Stand in the same position, okay? Now if you're in the bilge, you're going to be in this position, okay? I understand that. I've been there. All I'm trying to do is make sure, whatever position you're in, you're bringing them down. I'm using the same feel, but when it comes down to it, you don't want to tighten one more than the other. Alright, now she's ready to face off. Okay, we got this clamped on, set up with a center. This shaft never was fit and face before, and this is a good example to show you, and it's just luck of the draw here to get this video for you. Okay, I've got that center in there. Now I'm going to tighten up my steady rest because I'm running 3-jaw over here. No 3-jaw ever runs true. It might be out a half a thousand to a couple thousand or so. I know that mine runs out about 3. Sometimes I can fiddle with the, I almost slipped with a tongue there. I can manipulate it with a soft hammer. I need to regrind it. But that doesn't mean that I can't use it. I built this steady rest when I first got this lathe, and that's what this does. This makes this shaft run true, so you're facing off this face with a true running in shaft here and a true point here. The shaft's already been straightened, so I'm duplicating what it runs on the rollers out there. And that's what you need to have before you even put a tool bit to that face. Alright, let's go and I'll show you, and you can see how far this thing is running off. A lot of it is feel. Alright, zoom in on that needle. Okay, it's a little jiggly and it probably looks like, you know, let's go ahead and we'll roll it by hand. Here we're up there about the 10, and we're coming down about the 2. So we got 8 thousandths that this face is running out, okay? This thing's got to be running true. Because you got so many other things that are fighting against you. If you let this face run out, then you are going to create a whip in the shaft. This is 5 inches across here, or so. This width, every time it magnifies out here, out here, out here, you get on down in the middle of the shaft about 5 foot down, and it is that amount of times of your run out that you're trying to whip that shaft, and that will create a vibration. Okay, I got you set up again. I got you in this shot here because I know that you can see it well. Here is that hollowed area. You can see some when you're close to a surface cut on cast iron, rusty or whatever, and you're real close to the surface. When it skips, it makes a gloss impression or smoothness texture. But you can see right there is a little hollow right there on the edge. It's not really cleaning out sharp there. Let me get it neutral here so I can spin you. Also, see that spot right there? Friggin' hammer ding. Freaking hammer ding. Another one right there. Pretty much all the way around. At least he was consistent. I'm going to go ahead and take another skim cut on here, and then I'm going to take and I put another tool bit in here, and I'm going to break this corner right here to give it a relief, because I know on transmission coupling sometimes they don't give you relief for a sharp corner on a register to mate up with, and it's just better to take care of it now than a customer to come back and hey, I can't get the faces together, still a gap in there, you know, those kind of stories. I've been there, done that, and a long time ago. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and take it. I'm going to take another couple thousandths. That'll get rid of this right here, make it 100% clean. You know, it may seat fine around there. You know, that's questionable. It's in the lathe right now. Take another cut. It's just as easy to take the cut than it is to let it run off that way. Alright. Okay, we finished doing the facing. We fixed up that chamfer and everything else. I set this indicator up here so that I can show you that a fresh clean face is running 0. Okay, now I was telling you about torque and everything else on the clamp bolts. Now I'm going to loosen just one here. Okay, now see the motion you get? Okay, now let's see the other one here. Okay, now there's no tension on the coupling there now. Oh, almost zero, but it's not tight. It's spinning on there. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and retorque the coupling. Same way I did before. Rolling it over and bringing the torque up as equal as by feel. I'm not going to set the torque wrench for increments all the way through like you would be torquing a head or whatever. Just basically want the two final tensions on the coupling to be equal. And the main thing is so that it repeats. Okay? There you go. You got a good idea. It does have to be torqued equally. And I do it here in the shop. I expect you to do it down on the boat. Alright. Let's go ahead and get it off of here. You know, on a brand new shaft, I fit the coupling 3 times to the shaft when I make a brand new one. Once in here to make sure that the coupling fits the shaft before the keyways are even cut, and then it's taken off and I mill the keys in the shaft. Then it goes over, gets put in the Bridgeport, and I fit the coupling on there to get the dimple for the set screw. And then after that, it comes back, gets a final assembly, and I do the final fit and face. So fit and face is not just putting it on once and then taking it off. Alright, get a little more room here. Alright, same thing. I have the luxury of standing here and doing it and not being crowded. Same thing, but it's coming off the shaft, even in the bilge. And I know your space is in here, okay? Here's my steady wrist, you know? That's as much as you need to tap wedges in, okay? The boss over the key kind of gives you a little bit more height here if you do have to, if you have to hit it. If you have to do more than an average tap off of here, slide your hammer. 3-pound maul is very nice and it's a good tool. You're going to do less damage if you hold it against your shaft and slide it that way. You're not going to damage the shaft with a nice slide here. Well, unless you got knurled on it. Unless you've been beating your hammer with your hammer. You know, you'd hit it there. Of course, I have a nice mallet here. Okay. I know they don't come off like that in a boat if they've been on there for a year or however long. But I view what you have to go through in on a boat when I work your shaft here in the lathe. And that's how I do a fit and face. And that's how you put the key in. And that's it. Let's move on to lapping the other end.